I should talk about the things that I keep hearing or seeing on social media that are just wrong, and then we should correct them. So we're gonna debunk some myths today, or bust them, all right? So this third one deals with AI enhancement of videos, and I get a call. Well, actually, I was speaking at a conference, and somebody came up, and they were like, Trista, I want to run this by you. I want you to give it the smell test, and that always terrifies me. And I'm like, okay, what happened? Well, I went to this class, and there was an expert talking about AI, and I'm like, oh, I bet that was really fun. And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? And she's like, so there's a 4-step plan that you learn in that class. And I'm like, okay, what's the 4-step plan? Now, I'm impressed whenever somebody stays awake for an entire continuing education class, because I teach those, and most people sleep through mine. So I'm always excited when somebody's like, I went and it was fun and I learned. So the 4-step plan: 1, you look at the expired listings in your multiple list. I'm like, okay. She's like, and then you right click and you copy or scrape the picture that the listing agent had posted of the property, interiors, exteriors. I'm like, oh, okay. Is anything wrong with that? She's like, and then you go and there's this AI program, and you do a combination of this AI program and then in real life, and you virtually stage or edit the property so that it looks nicer. I'm like, okay. She's like, and then you call the seller that has this expired listing and you let them know that you have fixed it. And you meet with them to show them all of the errors that their listing agent made and how you have fixed them, and you've rebranded it with these altered pictures. I'm like, that's a lot to take in. She's like, and then you create like a pictorial kind of portfolio of your before and after to show what an amazing job you can do branding properties using AI. And I'm like, that stinks. You asked for the smell test. It stinks. And she's like, well, what's wrong with that? And I'm like, well, okay, let's get started. All right. First, you're realtors. You have the Code of Ethics, Article 12, Standard of Practice 1210, says a lot of things, like you can't take pictures of another without attribution. You can't mislead the public using images. And it's bad to violate the Code of Ethics, but you know what's even worse? Violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and the US Copyright Act. And that, because the DMCA, you can actually go to jail for that. And I have yet to see anybody at a realtors conference that would thrive in jail. No, there was way too long of a line for Starbucks this morning for anybody to do well, all right? So let's take a look at the problem, all right, for me. And it's not about the giving attribution, because they're like, I will put at the bottom who took the listing picture. Doesn't that make it okay? No, it doesn't, because we have a big difference between plagiarism, which is taking the work of another without attribution, and copyright. And copyright can get you in a lot of trouble. So we have to look at pictures as they exist in the multiple list. Are they subject to copyright protection? What do you think? When the United States joined the Berne Treaty, end of 1988, beginning of 1989, it took away any steps that I have to take in order for a work to be protected. So that is subject to copyright protection right now. So when we think about pictures that exist in the multiple list, are they going to be subject to copyright protection? Yes. So can we use AI in real estate to make changes to property pictures? If they're ours, or if we have a license, yes. But here's a little side note about artificial intelligence and AI. Anything that AI creates cannot be subject to copyright protection. You have to be an actual living, breathing human being to have something be subject to copyright protection. So if I AI something up and put it out into the world, it does not have copyright protection. I know, right? And I got the best copyright question ever last week. So there's this ranch, and the owner of the ranch had set up trail cameras, and bobcats kept setting off the trail cameras, and deer kept setting off the trail cameras. And the question from the listing agent was, can I use those, or do the deer have the copyright in the pictures? I was like, that is awesome. Because there's an entire series of cases that deal with whether animals can have copyright. I know. And I read them all just for my sheer enjoyment one evening when I couldn't sleep. And no, animals can't have copyrights. So when we look at AI, we want to remember what I create when it goes out there. I am not the creator, I am not the author, I don't have protection. And then the other part of that is I can't take pictures of another and AI them up and use them without a proper license. Don't do it. All right, Mythbusters.